onto our backup feed loader again. I had a problem on Sunday morning with that one. The problem was that it caught on fire. So I had a fire extinguisher there in the barn and some water, and I got to put out. But we're gonna have to assess the damage a little bit underneath, if it was some wiring or some hoses.
Meet the Peterson family. Our dad, the three Peterson brothers, and our families farm together in central Kansas. Our family farm started in 1882 and has been raising cattle and crops ever since. Please subscribe to this channel and give us a like and a comment if you enjoy the video.
All right, this set of cows has decimated this millet and sedan. So now that they're done eating, I'm gonna lock them back onto the pond with some weeds, whatever's left, and this pen. The calves have been eating ration now. Ignore the ugly pigweeds that grow in this corner. Hard to keep pigweeds away from around the edge of a feedlot. The calves now all know how to eat that ration. So another week, I might wean them. Might just leave them pinned up without a whole lot else to eat besides the ration, to force the calves to get used to that stuff. The cows look really plump and fat. That's because I'm feeding enough silage so that the calves, eat some, and the cows eat some. They will obviously get fed a lot less. Really won't probably get fed at all, except for corn stalks here once we wean the calves. They're definitely getting a little extra in order to help get those calves switched over, but it's just for like probably the last 3 weeks before weaning. They've been gaining some weight, and they've been eating the goodie off of the sedan plus the silage. So I mean, they've been pretty happy. There's some of the calves. They got some flesh to them, especially when it's right after they just finished eating.
I've been getting this drill ready a little bit at a time, as I talked about last video. While I was going through doing those coulters, I was checking each bearing to see if it was tight or if it was rough. I found a couple that I needed to tighten up, and then this one was a little rough. So I took it apart, and you can see, for whatever reason, there's a couple rough spots on these races, and the bearings don't look that bad. Both races had rough spots. So these sit in each side. The bearing runs on that. When the bearing wears out, you replace both of those. Keep your old hub. We try to check those before drilling soybeans and then before drilling wheat. We've got over 1,000 acres to cover this fall. This nice rain, we will start drilling basically when the ground is fit, and then kind of in between harvesting we'll be drilling some triticale and then all of our wheat, of course. So just thought I'd show you guys that. So here's my new seal. I'll put a new seal on there. There's my new bearing. I'll pack the bearing with grease so that it kind of gets in the bearing, and then they're greasable too, so.
Running to me. These heifers ready to be bred in like 45, 60 days. Crosby's off finding water sources for me. Oh, don't fall, bud. This has some water in it. The creek is as dry as a bone. If I could figure out a way to fence it, the cows could theoretically get to this to water. It's really steep on all the sides of it and grown up to vegetation, but that's literally the only place. But I'm gonna have them open to come down across this low water crossing and up into this pen to be able to reach a mere fount ball of water. You can hear this really annoying sound of the wire turning. But I don't really want to go any faster. We're fencing off this millet sedan. This wasn't fertilized any. It would have yielded more if we'd have fertilized it, but we're keeping costs really low to feed our cows. Not much more than like $28 of seed investment and one pass of chemical. So basically less costs than spraying it to keep it without weeds all summer. So we're gonna have something growing instead of having to spray off the weeds. We are fencing, and Nathan and I got some help. Some freeloaders here that just want to ride in the sidekick. There's no water. No water here. Putting some heifers back in a pen today. Dad and I sorted them heifers and steers. Some of these were ones I bought from Salina, some were from El Dorado. The next group up to sort will be this one. They just finished basically their last day of being on my dad's starter. Now they're gonna be fully on my grower load from now on. You gotta keep the loads kind of balanced, right? But my dad's starter wagon has been pretty full. We've been starting a lot of cattle. We had two groups over 85 come in. But once you get them switched over to my ration, you know, a pen of 80 eats a lot more than a pen of 30. Well, I chased a steer around somewhere out in that pen. My pliers is out there somewhere. My button came undone, lost the pliers. Got my mom and my aunt driving next to me, and I can just grab posts off the truck. There goes my mom conservatively driving the sidekick. So Nathan and I made it like 2/3 of the way around. We ran out of posts. Then with my mom and aunt, made it around the rest of the way. That saved me a lot of time in walking to have them drive next to me. I might make a cross fence out here, but I'm not gonna do that today. I do think I'm gonna see if I can get it hot though. I brought the charger from the one pasture that we have.
Doing some custom chopping for a neighbor, helping out our neighbor Mike. He's got his chopper, and then we're providing one truck for him. That's what I've been doing today.
All right, the drapers are coming out. The 9610 is out. The early beans, I think, are ready. Hopefully tomorrow we can get going on them. It's kind of later in the day today. We might try to get a test cut done. Okay, we got a couple things put on there.
Just got 229 tagged here. He came right up to the bunk with the moms. The moms were all busy eating. He was born either last night or this morning. The mom is right here. You earned your feed today, Mama. The other ones are hanging out over here. Just 10 left.
Pulling some pokies here, helping with chores before hopefully our first day at soybean harvest. Let's see if everything will go for us. If I can help with some of these little things before I head to the combines, it helped Dad and Kendall. It doesn't take so long for them to get to where they're ready to haul and stuff.
Fed them some silage today to stretch them the next week so they make it without grubbing this paddock too much.
Alright, we got some maintenance to do. We got the bin extensions to put up and plenty of other stuff to do. Then we can get cutting. It's gonna be a good day, guys. This U-joint I was gonna grease, and it's pointed in the exact right direction. Sometimes you have to turn it over to open it up, and there it was. I, of course, beat Greg over here, and I'm doing some maintenance. But we'll see if we can get that one going. I got a couple more things to do on this one.
All right, we are starting beans. Got a full bin here. Very tiny beans. Little BBs. But all these beans died, so this field's probably gonna make between 20 and 30 bushel, maybe less. Starting with one of our worst fields, but it just didn't rain over here. I think we'll have some better beans in some other places. Nathan's been working on that combine, tuning some things up. Kendall's coming over here with the semi, so we'll get going a little faster here. But I got a bin load, so I'm gonna wait till Kendall gets here. Cutting some dusty beans. These beans died. They did not get enough rain.
We're trying to plan how to get moved to the next place. So anyways, hopefully we're starting with the worst first. This is definitely, I'm pretty sure, the field that's got the least rain all summer long. Even in the spring, it was dry. They've really dried down. I mean, before the rain we got last weekend, they were still a little green. I'm pretty sure they'd have been a little wet. And that we could have been here yesterday cutting, but before that, the ground was still going to be wet. These beans were basically wilting their whole lives, it felt like. Just the way it goes sometimes. This is what our beans were like last year too. We'll see what the final ticket says. I don't think my yield monitor is just right on. But we both got both combines running. Should be done here pretty quick. Kendall's taking the grain cart to the next field, and then he'll be able to help us there. And I do think it'll be yielding better than these. So what's wild is I said this was like has been the driest field all summer. But what's crazy is just across the road is where we grew some pretty decent dryland corn that it made like 90 bushel an acre, and it was doing like 120 or better in the third of it that was along the creek. It's kind of crazy how the timing of rains matter, and also just how poor of soybean years we've had recently. We'll see what the other ones make. It's not normal, I promise, guys. I know we're on like year 3 or 4 of these poor yields. We've raised 60 bushel beans before. Our average, is probably in the 30s, if I'm being honest. I wish I could say it was 40s, but after these few years, it's pulling down our average. It'll get better. We had a really good wheat year. The corn hung in there. The milo is going to be basically average or a little below average. The beans are probably going to be the worst again, especially here. But we'll see. I'm still hoping to be pleasantly surprised by some of our later beans. All right, for soybean field in the books. Think I should just drive up to Coronado Heights while I'm going by? I can just hammer down all the way up there. But hey, look everybody, Kansas is not flat. Not flat. Well, when I was unhooking the header, I saw that it was leaking a little oil here. I thought, well, I probably should take that hose off tonight and get it fixed, because it had been rubbing. It's been rubbing. But it didn't look like it was leaking that bad. Well, then I get here and literally just cut the spot for the trucks to pull in and stuff, and I look over and it's just like spraying all over the place. So now I'm gonna try to get it fixed. Well, get it off and maybe fixed tonight still. I have a couple hours, but I need to go get my tools. There comes Greg over the hill. Greg and Kendall have a speaking event tonight because it's not supposed to be soybean cutting until October, right? So we scheduled a speaking event. So I was going to be cutting by myself anyways, and I could just go cut with that one, try to get stuff filled up, but if I can get it off, it'd be good to get it fixed, and I could still cut for a while. Gonna help Greg get going. I got a breakdown. You did? I saw it when I was unhooking, and it didn't look that bad, but then as soon as I started cutting, it was spraying oil all over the header. But I might be able to get it fixed before lane closes.
Now we're on to some better beans. Still ain't too bad.
Well, I was able to get the blown hose off and get it to a store to try to get it fixed, but they didn't have big enough fittings, so I'm gonna have to call around in the morning a couple other places to see if somewhere can build that hose for me. But I had the other combine to run, so I'm using the 9610 to get this semi-full, and we'll see if I cut any later than that or not. The sun's going down. It might get a little tough, but the beans are really dry. I don't know if we could have been on this field before that rain or not. It seems they tested even drier on our tester than the last field did. But it makes them thresh out nice. No growling of the combine. This MacDon head with the duck foot paddle tines, feeding real nice and even. You can really pick up your ground speed. These are making more like 35 bushel an acre. We might reach 40. Obviously you hope for higher, but it's kind of like a 40 bushel wheat crop. You can't complain about it too much around here. This field, we had corn last year, double crop milo the year before that, so you can see we still have real good residue cover. It's just not rained very much, so that hasn't broken down very much, but I'm okay with that. You know, that slows down the heavy rain when it comes. Here we've got terrible gopher holes. I hit these with the sprayer and it was terrible. It'd be nice to fix those. So the field we'll go to next when we get done with this one is the one where we had the cover crop and planted green into it. And I expect them to be better than here. Moths are going crazy tonight. They're everywhere.
We got steers on this side, 40, 50 days on feed. Heifers on this side. These ones are like late July, early August, so 60 days on feed. The harvest stuff picks up, you know, in late September. We have quite a few calves started. I think we've bought over 800 or something since into July. So we've gotten all them, most of them are started onto grower. There's 2 pens that are not. So Dad and I have to do those chores every morning. And then I check to see if there's any fall calves born, getting about ready to wean the spring calves off of those cows. So those are kind of things that have been going on around the feedlot. All this stuff has to continue to happen while we do bean harvest. We're going to be on day 2 of bean harvest today. But I really have to pick my days to do extra cattle work and not just do chores from, you know, 7:30 until 9:30 or 10 and then get to the field. So I have to have a few days where I need to get cattle moved around or do more than just pull a couple sick cattle or something after feeding. That's kind of a glimpse into the cattle operation. September's a big month for it, being we're calving and getting ready to wean a set as well.
Okay, last night I got this hose off as I went to Napa this morning, and they did have all the fittings. So I'm getting this slapped back on. Greg is hauling in the 2 loads that we got cut, and Kendall's on his way here, so we'll get cutting and hopefully have a big day. There he is. Nailed it. Okay, we're rolling. I'm gonna stay here until we get moved to the next field, and then I am probably gonna go get the drill going, which means we basically won't have the grain cart. But it seems like the right thing to do. I don't know, we'll see. If those beans over there are really good and the grain cart stays busy, and since we have it over here, I could stay here and just hammer down on this, but it would be nice to get the drill going. Plenty to do now around this time of year.
All right, it's Friday morning. You've got both the combines going. Nathan knocked quite a bit of this field out last night.
Greg, I'll be unload once I turn around at the north end.
Kendall and I went to a speaking event in Manhattan last night, so only an hour away from home, but Nathan cut on this field all by himself. Got quite a bit done, but we got the whole crew here this morning, or at least the 3 brothers. Dad is hauling silage for our neighbor back at the farm. Brookena's grandpa is here driving a semi for us, so we've got his help today. So we're going to try to knock out about 150-ish acres of beans. And these beans are yielding a little better than the field we were on yesterday, so that's encouraging. Yesterday's beans were pretty sad beans. Finished up the field. Nathan already headed over to the next field, I've got the header trailer hooked on, and we're gonna get moved over.
Now on the field that we planted green into triticale cover, you can see a lot of it's still here. We did have some late weeds come through, just like on the corn. It was so hot and dry, these beans basically didn't canopy. And then when the triticale kind of deteriorated enough, and then we got some late rains, anyways, we had some weeds come up. So that's why we like drilling. This field has a lot of history of weed pressure. It basically all goes underwater and silts out a bunch of weed seeds just from the whole watershed. So that's just the way it goes. But I'm pleased, and we'll see what it yields. And we saved the herbicide pass, but I think they're going to yield pretty good.
So dusty. Well, this field's been pretty variable so far. We get up to 70 and the average is only 30. So it's kind of all over the place. All right, this has been a really good field of beans. There are some green spots, but 12% moisture is about what it's been testing at the elevator, even despite the green spots. We're cutting them.
Greg's gonna finish that up. I'm gonna get emptied and cross the bridge. He's gonna take his header off before he can cross the bridge.
All right, everything was getting along pretty well in the soybean field. We had some drilling to do, so we got moved over to the other field. Decided to get this drill going. It's no rush to get our weed in. You know, it's still September, but it would be nice to have this first field of triticale in that we might be grazing in the late winter. That's what I'm gonna do now.
I cut my way all the way over to this side of the field so Greg could get this drone shot. So I was working on my side and he said, come over here where it's sunny and we can be together. you for YouTube, folks. We make sacrifices with field efficiency, kind of, a little bit.
What do you think, Owen? Yeah, are we drilling? That's right, living his best life. Started the day cutting beans, but then I handed it off, got the drill going, some triticale going in, wheat next week.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Check out our music videos linked in the description. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, and explore our website, www.petersonfarmbrothers.com. See you guys next time.